song, 80s song, Our Love's in Jeopardy. I think Weird Al did a parody called I Lost on Jeopardy. I just saw this headline from Zero Hedge and made me think of it. Not only that, I'm using that in my game show, just so you know. America has lost, Duterte announces, if that's how you pronounce his name. America lost on Duterte, baby. All right, hang on. I'm not 100% sure if that's how you pronounce his last name, but it sure looks like it. Duterte. Duterte. America lost on Duterte, baby. So he says, America has lost. Duterte announces separation from United States, aligns with China, and seeks alliance with Putin. After the relentless barrage of verbal abuse and negative sentiment aimed at Barack Obama and the U.S., coupled with increasingly complimentary statements towards Beijing, it was only a matter of time before Philippine President Rodrigo Duterte put an end to the speculation if and when he would officially pivot the country's long-held diplomatic alliance away from the U.S. and toward China. He did so today when, during a visit to China's capital, he announced his separation from the U.S., declaring he had realigned with China as the two agreed to solve their South China Sea dispute through talks. He is currently in Beijing, where he is visiting with at least 200 business people to pave the way for what he calls a new commercial alliance as relations with longtime ally Washington deteriorate. And folks, that's going to be one of many countries that we used to control and strong arm and outmuscle our way to do whatever the hell we wanted, or had them do whatever we wanted, or we would overthrow their government and put in a puppet government like we'd love to do in South America, that we've always done in South America. And this guy has said he's had enough. I want to remind you, Webbot report from quite a while ago. Matter of fact, it started at least a few years ago, and it has been in the data still. From time to time, I see it. But the one report I'm referring to was a while back, a good while back. I've mentioned this, but I'll mention it again. And it said we're going to find ourselves in a situation where countries do exactly what this guy has done and get to the point where they say, oh, that's right, we're one of the countries you have your military base at. Yeah, listen, we don't want your military base here anymore, which means your personnel people, they need to get out of here as soon as possible, like yesterday. And these people, American citizens and or the military who are working there, okay, I'll go to the airport. We've got orders from Washington. They said to go ahead and leave. We're leaving. Get on a plane. We don't take American dollars. Sorry about that, sir. Oh, I'll go and change them out for something else. Oh, no. You don't understand. We don't take American dollars. We're certainly not going to exchange them for our currency or anything else. You're going to have to try to find another way home. That kind of was the viewpoint of what the Webbot said would be coming. So when I see something unprecedented, the Philippines saying, screw you, America, I'm going home. We made a new alliance with Russia and China. And again, as I just said in my previous video, John Teeter, he/she president thing, these Asian-speaking countries were forcefully annexed by China right before Nuclear Day. So we have a Philippine country, Asian, aligning with the two superpowers in which John Teeter says we fight against, Russia, China. If I don't mind saying so, I'm little tiny bit concerned, a little bit concerning. Quote, in this venue, your honors in this venue, I announce my separation from the United States, he told Chinese and Philippine business people to applause. Massive applause, cheering, clapping, at a forum in the Great Hall of the People, attended by Chinese Vice Premier, and they, what is this him? Yeah. quote, both in military, not maybe social, but economics also, America has lost, he said. His efforts to engage China months after a tribunal in The Hague ruled that Beijing did not have historic rights to the South China Sea in a case brought by the previous administration in Manila marks a reversal in foreign policy since the 71-year-old former mayor took office on June 30th. As Reuters adds, his trade secretary, Ramon Lopez, said $13.5 billion in deals would be signed during the China trip. An even more dramatic admission came moments later when he also voiced his desire to expand the newly hatched Asian axis to include Russia as well. Quote, I've realigned myself in your ideological flow, and maybe I will also go to Russia to talk to President Vladimir Putin and tell him that there are three of us against the world: China, Philippines, and Russia. It's the only way, he told his Beijing audience. Still in keeping with the semi-flip-flopping nature of his administration, a few hours after his speech, his top economic policymakers released a statement saying that while Asian economic integration was long overdue, that did not mean the Philippines was turning its back on the West. Quote, we will maintain relations with the West, but we desire stronger integration with our neighbors, said Finance Secretary Carlos Dominguez and Economic Planning Secretary Ernesto Pernilla in a joint statement. Quote, we share the culture and a better understanding with our region. The Philippines is integrated with ASEAN, China, Japan, and South Korea. Now, I gotta see something. Hang on. Got to see something. Let's say, why are these people having, he's got all these Spanish speaking sounding names in his administration, but these people do look Asian. I'm like, Philippines, right? We are talking about the same place. Okay. Unlike Obama's final arrival in China in the late summer, which was met several very embarrassing logistical and diplomatic snafus, China put out all the stops to welcome him, that is Duterte, including a marching band complete with baton-twirling bandmasters at his official greeting ceremony outside the Great Hall of the People, which is not extended to most leaders. President Xi Jinping, meeting Duterte earlier in the day, called the visit a milestone in ties. He told Duterte that China and the Philippines were brothers and they could appropriately handle disputes, though he did not mention the South China Sea in remarks made in front of reporters. I hope we can follow the wishes of the people and use this visit as an opportunity to push China-Philippines relations back on a friendly footing and fully improve things. Following their meeting, during which Duterte said relations with China had entered a new springtime, Chinese Vice Foreign Minister said the South China Sea issue was not the sum total of relations. The two sides agreed that they will do whatever they agreed 5 years ago. That is to pursue bilateral dialogue in consultation and seeking a proper settlement of the South China Sea. As a result of Duterte's pivot, China now has a key supporter in the ongoing geopolitical disagreement involving the contested territory in the South China Sea. China claims most of the energy-rich South China Sea, through which about $5 trillion in ship-borne trade passes every year. Neighbors Brunei, Malaysia, and the Philippines, Taiwan, Vietnam have also made claims. In 2012, China seized the disputed Scarborough Shoal and denied Philippine fishermen access to its fishing grounds. Meanwhile, anti-U.S. sentiment is building in the Philippines, which is also not surprising after Duterte previously called Barack Obama a, quote, son of a bitch, and told him to go to hell, while alluding to severing ties with the old colonial power. On Wednesday, to the cheers of hundreds of Filipinos in Beijing, Duterte said Philippine foreign policy was veering towards China. Quote, I will not go to America anymore. We will just be insulted there, he said. So, time to say goodbye, my friend, he said. And as we reported earlier, Zero Hedge that is, about 1,000 anti-U.S. protesters gathered outside the U.S. Embassy in Manila calling for the removal of U.S. troops from the southern island of Mindanao. As the standoff escalated, the local police ran over protesters who were preparing to storm the embassy. Why is this not on all mainstream breaking news right now? That's right. They don't want you to know that. They don't want you to know that some countries are now saying, I've had enough. Again, that thing I just told you about the webbot, I did not read this article like I always do. I don't read these articles in full. I see the headline. It catches my eye. I like it. Read a couple paragraphs. Yes, I'm going to do a video on this later. I email it to myself. So I told you about the webbot prediction that there's going to be military stranded, essentially. We can't get back on. They won't flights. They won't take our dollars. We're stuck over here. And you mean to tell me at the end of this article, you have people in a country, and they're talking about Manila right now, saying we want the U.S. troops off our soil. Get out of here. Are you freaking kidding me? Take care.